older adults are a growing and increasingly part of our country. Did they just find that out? The contributions they make to our communities are varied, deeply rooted, and include influential roles in the nation's economy, politics, and the arts, like our senior follies. In 1963, President Kennedy established what is May's Older Americans Month to acknowledge the contributions of older adults. Led by the Administration of Community Living, the annual observance offers the opportunity to learn about, support, and celebrate our nation's older citizens. This year's theme, Blaze a Trail, emphasizes the ways older adults are reinventing themselves through new work, new passions, engaging their communities, and blazing a trail of positive impact on the lives of people of all ages. We should focus on how older adults in our community are leading and inspiring others, how we can support and learn from them, and how we might follow their example to blaze trails of our own. The Art of Aging. I really like that title. My guest today is from the Massachusetts Executive Office of Elder Affairs, Emmett Schmarsow, Program Manager for Councils on Aging and Senior Centers, and someone I always enjoy having on the show.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So, I'm so glad you're here. We really need to talk about seniors because sometimes I feel like maybe the younger folk and sometimes seniors don't understand what is going on with aging and what we need. And, we talk so much about medication and things like that.
Sure.
But I also know there's another side to growing old, and that's keeping alive and meaning in spirit too. So
Right.
do communities, you work with a lot of communities, do
Sure.
they understand this? Do you find that some communities have a problem, knowing that seniors need a little attention too?
Well, I think the advantage of having a council on aging is it's an important. I don't want to say it's not like a tactical thing. I mean, they are enabled by Mass General laws. They've been around before the Older Americans Act. They go back actually to 1956. So I think in Massachusetts we had a sense of that there is a role for seniors, and it wasn't just, say, recreation or nursing homes, however it might work. So what we've been developing Elder Affairs for a number of years is providing a wide range of things that people did not exist before, say, 1973. We became the oldest, the first cabinet level position in the country as a state agency. But we recognize the need for care that extended beyond nursing home care to try to keep people in the community for as long as possible, because that's what people want to do. They want to stay in their own homes for as long as possible, and we try to support that. And councils on aging, to me, are a key element in that, because they provide opportunities, can provide a variety of opportunities, but each community is different, so you don't necessarily know what's in community A will be also existing in community B, and they may complement each other, they may be totally, it doesn't matter. But it's a community. I think, because it's part of town government, you really have to integrate what you're doing, make it part of town government, and that's not necessarily the easiest thing to do.
I find that often we do a lot for, I'm for doing a lot for the children. And my children went to school, in Littleton, and my grandchildren also, and I'm so happy that we have really some of the best schools in the state right here in Littleton. People are moving here because of that.
Right.
But in the meantime, I don't want the seniors to have to move out because they cannot afford, to stay here. And, you try to work at, you wish you had the people that go out for the children to come and help with the seniors for what
Right.
they need, But I'm sure they're what bothers me is maybe they'll work for these wonderful schools and everything, but then after their children graduate, are they going to move away?
Right.
And the seniors that are here, what's going to happen, to them?
Right. That's true.
But I have to say that in Littleton, I'm going to read this off of this sheet here, that our director, Council on Aging Director Pamela Campbell, is working on this TREAD tax relief program. And it's for elders and the disabled, and it helps with property taxes for low-income property owners. So I think that kind of helps a little bit. We just started it, so maybe it'll help the seniors.
Well, in the past 4 years, we've gone from about 125 communities that engage in property tax work-off programs. And there's probably now about 155, 160. It's a growing interest in communities. And we have some, for instance, that the total volunteer time that goes in for property tax work-off might be 50 hours a year for the town. We have towns in Massachusetts that provide over 10,000 hours of volunteer service as property tax work-off in the community. So what you really have is each community sort of understanding, and I'm not sure whether it's, who made it, why is this more important in one community than another, or who made it more important, but it's clear that giving seniors an opportunity to stay ahead of the taxes and other concerns. I mean, this is a great opportunity, and I think every town, as far as I'm concerned, every town that can do it should do it.
Yeah, really, because it does help, and they do sign up to help, do this.
Right.
There's always need for senior housing, especially if people can't stay in their homes. There's always need for, I think there's always need for a senior center. Because we hear about it here in Littleton, where some of our seniors go to other towns to use the senior centers because of all the wonderful things they have.
It's really not unusual for a senior to go to another town. See, because the key to elders, the number one issue for seniors is transportation, not housing. Now, there are a few communities in which housing is number one, but it's quite rare.
Yeah.
So if you've got a car, you can go to the next community that might be doing yoga or Tai Chi or duplicate bridge or tollware or computer, learning how to use a computer or tablet. So it's really, so people read newsletters, they sort of plague the thing, they may just get with their friends together and go someplace. And that sense of adventure is a good thing. Yeah, it's a good thing.
You're making it sound like it's a good thing, so I shouldn't worry about it, I guess. We do have, for a small center that we have 2 rooms, we try to do a lot of different programs.
Right.
And but as far as transportation is concerned, we are good with that here in Littleton. Our Council on Aging, in fact, the director's still looking for another van. We have a couple now, and trying to work so that the seniors do have transportation. I don't know that we're bringing them to other senior centers to play, though. But we do take them for medication and doctor's appointments and things like that. And so I think that we have a very good transportation system here in Littleton. I just wish we had a way of getting a senior center that would, fulfill needs for seniors. You find they won't come, though.
Well, people come to a senior center because there's something there that interests them. So it's not it's strictly, you want to say if you build it, they will come. But in point of fact, if you attract them, they will come. But it's probably going to involve food. That's pretty much a given. But it's opportunities. So to me, the term senior center, I'm fine with it. And some people just like, and I keep and say, well, do you want the junior accountant or do you want the senior accountant? Do you want the junior manager or do you want the senior manager? So people take the term senior and sort of apply it and say, well, I don't know this. So if there are opportunities, people will go there. So, but in terms of, see, you've got a senior center. Well, there's 220 senior centers and there's other drop-in centers in the Commonwealth. There's a lot of them. But as I said, for people who have transportation, they will go where it meets their needs. But if you, for instance, want to do things like, supportive day programs or something, that's going to have to be in the community. That's going to have to be something to say, look, I can have mom or dad or whatever, be engaged with this thing, so I can work, I can do, other things in my life. It's not like it's sort of a home away from home.
Right, yeah.
And so if it doesn't feel quite like a home, well, how do you make it be like a home? So that's not an easy thing because, it costs money to build a senior center, obviously.
Yeah, I know, I know.
And there are, there's a fairly steady progression of communities that are doing it. You got, but you know what? If I had to guess, and unfortunately it would be a guess, you have to expect it to take probably 8 or 9 years once you start the process to actually get a senior center. You can be sort of wishing about it, but once you start visiting other centers and you maybe conduct a study and say, well, what are the needs in other communities and make comparisons, because you want that study. You want to be able to say, this makes sense. And then, you have to go from there. But there has to be a champion.
Yeah.
I mean, without somebody who says, this is what matters to seniors, this is what makes this more a community, that the people, the elders who contribute, say, 35-40% of the taxes might be getting 2, 3, 4, 5/10 of 1% back in terms of their budget. Right. That's not unusual. Obviously, I would wish that it were different, but that's where people have to, in effect, say, we've paid for we're glad to have kids go through, but now we want to be able to stay here and afford it, and that's it's a balancing act there, right. And I'm not saying it's an easy one to manage.
It's not, because we've been doing this research for the past 15 or 20 years, and it's always like, we get so that we don't want to go on because it looks like you're not getting, you're just not getting there. You know what I mean? And you need more money, and you need, how do we do this? Who does it? And I feel like you need maybe younger people to say, I think I'm going to help the seniors. I think I'm going to find out what we can do to help them, because they're going to be a senior one of these days. I don't know.
Well, they were hoping, right? They don't know, but they're hoping.
I don't know if they're going to be one in Littleton, but wherever they go, they may even pick the town that has the best senior center when they're old. How do I know? That's a thought. But
I would just say that I don't think, it's kind of funny because I'm not sure whether, how seniors pick where they're going to move, because if they've got, they can drive and stuff. Although one guy I remember in a study said, you think you should still be driving at 87? He said, sure. I'm giving it up when I turn 88, because when it's 88, I'm too old to be driving. You're too old to be driving. But 87's fine, right? We get these surveys back, right? So, but people they make opportunities for themselves by having a vehicle. And I think if it's something in the community that makes it work for the community, that is to say, this will, I couldn't do this before, but now I can do Tai Chi or yoga, for instance. Yeah. Now, that's something that everybody should be doing. I mean, movement is really important, but it's not just movement. Like treadmills don't do it, but you've got to do movement, but it's sort of like where you want to do Tai Chi and you want to do yoga. I mean, it's even... it's got to involve mental and physical. It's got both elements. So for people who don't have these opportunities, maybe those are the people who say, why can't we have it here?
Yeah,
I don't
we
know.
do. We do have it here. As
you
a matter
do?
of fact.
Well, then.
We are fine. But it's just like I feel selfish because I want bigger space to have it,
right.
so that more seniors can come and do this, because we have been hearing that it's so good for you. And you know that they moved to Florida to get that activity. I mean, every time I talk to somebody that's gone to Florida, we were busy every day doing something, and so that's where they're going to move to.
Well, I mean, one of the things I might suggest is that you look at things, for instance, what could you do in the evening? Let's okay. So there are senior centers that now may be closed for half a day or closed earlier, so that way adults can come here and they see this as part of a community, because particularly for caregiving. I mean, I guess I'm seeing that. I'm thinking opportunities, but really, if the stress of caregiving, I'll give you a statistic that you may not believe, but it's a very widely known in the field. People say people caring for those with Alzheimer's, 30% of people caring for those with Alzheimer's die before the person for whom they are caregiving. And that is really a statistic that says that taking care of seniors, taking care of anybody. I mean, Alzheimer's could start in the 40s, for that matter.
Yeah.
But it's really, based. So I think you have to identify the needs, but seniors have to do the identification.
Yeah.
And I would say what would help toward that end is maybe having it's not something unlike your show, but but as a sort of a focus group to say this is what happens, because when people fill out surveys, it's one thing, but when you begin to sense the emotional content, I think that brings a new light to how the community feels, because numbers I don't think quite do it.
We do have a program here too that, the more I tell you, it sounds like we're like perfect, but
I'll go with that.
we do have a social program for people with dementia and Alzheimer's.
The secretary, by the way, is very, very big on helping. All of us are big on making communities more friendly to people.
Yeah, we have this
dementia.
3 days a week, and it's because we felt that the caregiver needed a couple of hours, to go shopping, be alone, whatever they should do, and that's working. There's probably 12 in that program.
That is, that's like, I would say it's life-saving, because I think it is.
It is.
It's that essential.
Yeah,
because
I went through
the stress is.
My mother had dementia, and I was able to send her to a program once in a while that they came and picked her up and brought her and came back, and she thought she was like going to work. She liked that, but so I can understand that. It's just that I still feel like it would be wonderful if somehow there was a way to work on getting a place where you'd have all these rooms. You wouldn't worry about, if I have the social program, but I have to have a diabetic program, and they're going to be in place, and I need to move them to the hallway so that so that's why I feel big about Littleton probably working on a senior center.
Well, I think the issue is I think that if, as I mentioned, opportunities, you have to look at things and say, well, what is it that we really want to have here that we can't, find someplace else? I don't think people go around, doing that. It's a matter of when, phrase it this way: if you build it, they will come. And that's really the truth of the matter. And a lot of times you don't see necessarily a lot of people in the senior center because, in point of fact, until they've got a reason to come to the senior center. So your issue, it would be any community, is what makes it special about this place, because this is my home away from home.
Right.
And it's got to be special for it to be called your home away from home.
Yeah. You're right. So, well, we try every year. We try again.
I mean, as a humble example, you visit with a large group of people, and go and ask them, what was the turning point in this quest, and I think until, if I may say, an quote ordinary citizen comes and says, I like this. I've got, oh, look at the space here. I can do this stuff. I can do pottery. Whatever the kinds of things are, and there are a lot of things at senior centers. I mean, we have listed over 100 different types of programs, and a bunch of them already you've touched on, and that is support groups.
Yeah.
There must be 15 different kinds of support groups. So it's something that's in the community already, but it's not necessarily as focused. It's still nascent. It's still, coming into its existence, and you can do that. But you start it here and then say, oh, but this is what we really, now we know more. Mm-hmm. But it's almost, it's kind of a sense of adventure that I think you have to say, let's look at this from another perspective. But that's going to demand somebody who comes in and the help of a friends group. If you've got a good friends group, you're going to need a friends group.
Yeah,
that's serious.
Well, I have to say that in Littleton, we had a group that got together once a week to rehearse for what we called the Senior Follies.
Oh.
I have a DVD for you so that you can see it.
Well, thank you. We're no angels.
Right.
You're not devils either, I suppose.
Yeah. This is was our third one.
Well,
and
thank you.
We've had angels in the townhouse, and then the angels are back, and now we're no angels. And we told everyone this is the last one we're going to do. I have to say that the seniors that were in this kept telling me, this was so fun. It made the winter go by fast coming to rehearsals.
Right.
This is something that towns should think of too. And we did the show. First year we had 200 people. The second we had 3, and then this year we went to a bigger place and we got more. And I announced that it would be the last one that we would do, and I got booed. And
oh, okay.
And now the cast is saying we have to think about this. So we're thinking about it. That's all. We're just thinking about it. But
well, there's a lot. I mean, in Worcester, for instance, they had belly dancers come in. I think it was and it was led by a woman who was in her mid to late 70s. And I don't think most people could really keep up with her because she just, I mean, it's a love that you do. And, you don't keep looking for something that isn't there. You look for something that is there. And that's, I think, it emphasizes and
well, this is what
grows.
I wanted to do because I want to show that, the seniors, we're alive and well and kicking, and we want to have fun, and we want to have laughs, and we want to be healthy. And this was, a healthy thing to do.
Oh, yeah.
And so, we may try to keep more people healthy by doing
well, there's a city in southeastern Mass, and they would draw probably about 800 or 1,000 people with this thing. But you got a cast of 150. Everybody wants to be part of it. But they're hoofing it on the stage. But somebody. I will say this because I work with 350 agencies. Somebody has to own it and believe in it. And that says a lot about the community. Obviously, it says a lot about the person themselves.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know how you feel about that. That's my observation. Yeah.
Well, we enjoyed doing it and everything, and it was another way I thought to have people come out and see seniors for what we are and what we could do and what we need to.
Well, one of the things I could think about doing that is maybe get some kids acts in as well, because frankly, when you think about it, the kids will steal a scene. But for seniors, if you're getting people in, who knows? Because seniors and kids actually can get along pretty well. It's not. We're not talking 24/7 here, but it's.
Well.
It's a thought.
Well, it's a thought. We'll think about
it.
If we decide to do another one.
Right.
We have to think about that.
Yeah, it's a lot of
commitment.
It's a lot of commitment. I can appreciate that.
Well, I'm glad that you came today. I appreciate it. And
Well, thank you. That's very
I
kind of you.
expect that one of these days I'll be calling you to come back again so we can talk about what's happening in the senior community.
Well, thank you very much. I think, I would say, given growth of the senior population, I mean, it's something that communities have to take this very seriously because, we're growing through, the next 15 years or so, and we're not going away for another 20 years after that. So
Right,
this is nationwide. It's not Littleton. It's not just one place. It's
It
everywhere.
is growing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's good to have people respect and, I don't want to say take care of because that sounds like we need, that much attention. Just be aware that the community is growing. And
It is growing, and in fact, the number of communities that have now more seniors than students is around 90, I think, in Massachusetts. But within the next 15 years or so, I mean, it's across the country, it's 10,000 seniors a day, or people are becoming seniors. But you're going to see this is where the population is going. And in Massachusetts, most communities will have more seniors than kids. So sometimes you look at the students and the ratio and say, well, this is really what this is where we're at now. It's not where we're at now. It's where we're going to be. And that's where we're going to be through 2050. That's a long time away.
yeah.
So
well,
we should be thinking that, in my opinion.
I don't know, try to be here, but
No, we can't.
well, we're lucky because we have a lovely lady living in Littleton, Hazel Plummer, and she's going to be 108 in June, and she is
Wow.
terrific. And she's just
Congratulations to her.
She
That's
is with it,
wonderful.
so,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah.
thank you again.
Well, it's been my
And-
pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
I'll be talking to you, and I hope that you'll come back sometime.
I would be pleased to do that. Thank you.
Thank you.